brain drain is an economic term used to describe the immigration of highly trained and intelligent individuals from one area to another. Mississippi is currently facing the second worst brain drain in the United States. Between 2010 and 2019, 2.7 to 3.7% of Mississippi residents over the age of 25 left the state after earning a bachelor's degree. Due to Mississippi's lack of urban hubs that offer high-paying jobs, many residents leave in search of better cities. Dr. Sandra Collins, a senior economist for the Mississippi Institutions of Higher Learning, examines Mississippi's systematic and economic issues such as the brain drain. She published a paper entitled "What is the Economic Impact of Brain Drain in Mississippi?" along with J. Corey Miller for the University Research Center at Mississippi's Institutions of Higher Learning.
So first, let's think about how we think about the brain drain. So normally we think about brain drain as people who are well educated, leaving one place, going to someplace different. And so in our paper, we look at people who are well educated and we define it as people who have at least a bachelor's degree, leaving Mississippi and going other places. But we also look at our 4 border states, so Tennessee, Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana. We look at Texas and Florida, and we try to compare what it looks like with people with bachelor's degrees leaving Mississippi versus leaving those other 6 states. And it actually looks about the same as what we learn. The difference is when people leave, they have to land somewhere, all right? And a lot of those people are landing in these other 6 states, and we don't have as many people landing here. And so whereas we're all losing about 2 to 3% of our well-educated people to somewhere else, people who were well-educated in that state, right, leaving to go somewhere else, we're not all getting people from other places. And Mississippi is at the bottom when it comes to receiving those mix of people who are leaving. We do like a hypothetical scenario where we say, what if we added 1,200 well-educated people into Mississippi's economy? What would it look like? And what we find is that GDP would be about 0.1% more than what it is right now. And it sounds really small, but that number is really small, right? 1,200 people is just not a lot of people. And so if we expanded that more, we could expand the GDP even more. So, and more well-educated people attract more well-educated people, and so you kind of can get that snowball effect on building up on GDP, and people's median income and all those types of things will really snowball if we could get it moved. Young people tend to find better opportunities in more metro areas, and so those metro areas attract, the young people, and the rural areas tend to lose them. And that's not just in Mississippi, that's really nationwide. So part of the reason that our neighbors tend to attract more people is that they have those larger metro areas. So right now, Mississippi's gross domestic product is behind the U.S. as far as in growth, right? So when we look at year-to-year growth, our state is growing less than the nation and less than most other states. The same when we think about median income. Median income is lower here, and the growth in median income is less than it is typically nationwide and in other states. And so if we can't figure out how to employ young people here in the state, we run the risk of falling farther behind as far as our growth in our GDP and our growth in median income. On the flip side, if we do, figure that out, then we can really snowball that GDP growth rate as well as the median income. Right, so different agencies are doing different things. Some agencies are paying back student loans for people who agree to stay maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years and work in the state during that period. And what some agencies are doing is even paying that tuition ahead of time. So you don't even have to take out student loans, and they'll say, okay, we'll pay your tuition if you're majoring in these particular things. And if you work in Mississippi in a job that requires that degree, you don't have to worry about it because your tuition is already paid. But if you choose to leave, then you have to pay us back. And so some combinations of things like that. There's been some talks of tax breaks. That hasn't happened, I don't think, but tax breaks for young people who went to college in Mississippi and are staying and working here. So when you look at our paper, what we find is that people are leaving all 7 states that we looked at about the same rate. What's happening in Mississippi is that we aren't attracting young people to come to the state. And young people are typically going to explore, right? They want to get out, they want to live somewhere else, be somewhere else. And so our job really is going to be to attract those young people who are looking for a new adventure to try to have that new adventure here in Mississippi. I don't know what steps we have to take to kind of make that adventure seem possible here, but that's really what it's going to take, is like, how do you attract young people who are out looking to explore to say, hey, we want to come explore here? And so as soon as we can figure that part out, I think we can really stop the brain drain problem here in Mississippi.
A class at Madison Central entitled College and Career Readiness B teaches students smart choices for college and what to look for in future careers. Henry Cotton, a CCRB teacher at Madison Central, speaks on how the brain drain is affecting his students and their futures.
I feel like the motivation is partially because social media. I feel like that's one part of it. I feel like we get to see so many different places. We get to see so many different aspects of life, and a lot of people feel like Mississippi is just boring. You can gain a lot from staying in Mississippi, specifically staying at home. Obviously, in-state tuition, if you're going to college, is much lower. You've already been here. You've networked with a lot of people. We're being called the boomerang generation because a lot of individuals, once they leave home for college, graduate, they usually come right back home because housing is not great for everyone right now, and a lot of people are in student debt. So staying home and staying in Mississippi can alleviate a lot of that stress, and it can honestly set you up for a better future. I believe the brain drain can be stopped. Obviously, we're living in Mississippi. It's a very southern state, a very traditional state, and I feel like we put a lot of people in office who rely on these traditions from way back when to keep us moving forward. When in reality, the more progressive we are, the more students will realize that there is change that can happen, and it can start with them. Them staying in Mississippi is the start of everything turning around because we need somebody to take control and show that we can move forward, we can progress, we can make this state somewhere where we don't have to leave to be successful. I think that we as educators need to take education in a more progressive way. I think we need to just be better as a whole and show that this state is worth staying in. I feel like a lot of individuals get bad experiences from high school, and that kind of leads them into college, and they take the experiences they have from college and say, you know what, I'm going to leave the state because there's not much for me here. So I feel like as educators, we should do our best job in finding different ways to engage students and teach them as much about Mississippi as well as other places, but show specifically the benefits of staying here and creating change and being the change you want to see, how important that is. I feel like that's the best case scenario in what we can do to keep students in Mississippi.
Jonathan Tate Reeves is an American politician that has served as the 65th governor of Mississippi since 2020. On Tuesday, January 9th, 2024, Reeves was inaugurated as governor for his second term.
So, what comes next for Mississippi? There is no doubt that our bad numbers are getting better and our good numbers are becoming great. I love to talk about rankings and results. I'm a numbers guy, but we are not pursuing test scores to beat Alabama. We are not pursuing capital investment to have bragging rights over Arkansas. We are pursuing excellence to secure permanence. For too many decades, Mississippi's most valuable export has not been our cotton or even our culture. It's been our kids. Mississippi mines dominate some of the top positions in government, in business, and in entertainment across the country. They carry with them the pride and the grit that is ingrained in every Mississippian. They made other places better, and we missed out on all they could have done here at home. My goal is not just to ensure that Mississippi is a source of pride, but that it can be the place where they achieve their fortune and their dominance in their field. By now you know I love to say that Mississippi has momentum, and we do. But today I want to tell you what I believe we must do with that momentum. Our goal must be what I call Mississippi forever. I want to build a state where my daughters and all of our sons and daughters can proudly stay and raise their families. I want every kid, from the Delta to the coast, from Tishomingo to Tallahatchie, to grow up with the idea that they'll be Mississippi forever. I want every child to have the opportunities for an education and a career that enable them to be Mississippi forever. I want companies that are born here to know that they can grow here. Mississippi forever. And I want people who live in other states, many of whom grew up here, who are frustrated by the breakdown of culture and society where they live, who feel like they cannot get ahead. I want those families to look across the dinner table at each other and say, honey, we need to go to Mississippi forever.
Mississippi's brain drain is an ongoing issue that is worsening as people continue to leave the state for better opportunities. Mississippi residents should research all college and career options before establishing their future. This has been Rachael Carpenter with JNN.